What's up, everyone? Another Saturday night episode. Today, I spent pretty much most of my whole day going back and collecting and putting on a spreadsheet pretty much all of the customer data I have, right? So that's name, contact, service used, number of purchases, and of course the zinger, estimated lifetime value, because numbers are important, and that's what we're going to talk about in this video. So if you've been following along my little journey of owning a business and just YouTube in general, you know that the current series we have going on, which I'm only 2 episodes deep into because I've not been the greatest at posting on YouTube lately. I apologize. But that series is called Next Steps to Scale, right? And I've determined that it's very important to know these certain numbers as I do try to scale my business. And I recently came across a video from Frank and Maven, who I also did get to talk to. One of their marketing directors gave me a little bit of sauce on ads, so definitely check them out. They have a very underrated podcast, only like 10,000 subscribers, but I watched their video on how to turn your revenue goals into a marketing plan, and they kind of talked about certain numbers you need to know, like, so how much are you trying to make, how many of those customers are going to be repeat customers, how much you have to actually spend on marketing to get to that next level, etc. And just really had me thinking that, like, I do not have enough data on my customers to kind of make educated decisions to scale my business. So for maybe not the first time ever, but I've tried to do numbers in the past, right? Try to make revenue projections, all this kind of shit, and I never seem to really nail it. But that's because I'm not going off the most important data, I guess, kind of just projecting. But the way that they laid out their video and their formula, I now have a clear headwind, I guess, of how I'm going to go about this. And that way I can really know how many more customers I need to get, how much do I need to make my customers worth to get to a certain revenue goal, which I haven't even determined what that revenue goal is yet. I was just trying to track all the data in the first place, right? So pretty much today, I went through every single transaction we've ever made, at least I think, because last year I didn't do the greatest. I didn't start really tracking every single thing till September. So I know I'm mainly correct, but all the money we made before September could maybe be a little bit off, and I maybe could have missed some things. But, not everything's going to be perfect. This is just what I really got. So I made a customer list because that's important too. I should have a list of all my customers, their contact information, and a little bit of data on them, because that makes sense. Because, the goal is obviously to grow through referrals and get repeat customers. And you do that by tracking their data, I guess. Tracking their data, that sounds creepy. I literally just have a list of name, contact, service used, number of purchases, and estimated lifetime value. So it's not really a whole ton of data, but it gives me a good idea of how much I'm making from each customer, right? So I determined that my average purchase price, give me 1 second. So pretty much I got all this data from my profit statement from this year, September on, and just going back through my lead list. I have an old lead list when I used to do outbound messaging, where I also tracked some of my customers. But I finally made like a real Google Sheets customer list with enough data that it's pretty much a CRM at this point. So how I did this was I plugged this data into ChatGPT, asked it a couple questions, and I determined that my average lifetime value per customer is $123, and the average purchase price is $130. So that's a good start. I know how much my customers are spending on average, and I know how much they're worth over a given period of time through repeat purchases, fall-offs, etc. So that's exciting. Because now what I can do is I can make an educated guess of how much money I'm going to make from them in the future. So then that leaves the discrepancy between how much I want to make from my current customers, if they're going to refer people, and how many customers I need to generate to make the amount of money I want to make. pretty relatively simple, right? There are a couple other things I'm going to dive into with this data, which I haven't done yet. I'm going to try to get a gauge of how many people are referring, if there's similarities between the people that are referring, and kind of just backtest the whole process of all the customers I've gotten. I think the number's like, give me 1 second. The number is like 64 total customers or something like that throughout the 1 year period, which I low-key thought maybe we had a little bit more, but at the same time, 64 is kind of a lot of people. Yeah, 64. So, wait, this is giving me different data. What the fuck? Whatever. ChatGPT is like tweaking. But, yeah, hold up. Hey, Gatorade Zero, bro. I've just been downing zero sugar drinks lately. Probably not the healthiest for me. I kind of got to work on that, but it's almost summer, bro. It's shred season, so yeah. But now, the next steps are, like I said, to determine how much I can expect to make for my customers in the upcoming year. Maybe not even year, just, I would say the upcoming hockey season probably makes some sense. Go off that. And then I can determine what kind of marketing I need to do to get the rest of the customers. So it's pretty exciting stuff, I guess. And that's how I've been spending my Saturday. So, this is episode 3 of Next Steps to Scale. And yeah, I think that I need to, I came to the realization that I need this data. And maybe one of my biggest regrets ever is not tracking stuff sooner, because it just made this whole process so much harder. It would have been a lot easier if I did things the way I did from September to now, the whole time I was running a business. For some reason, I didn't think it was intelligent to track my revenue, which makes not a lot of sense. I don't know what, but whatever. I was a newbie in business. I'll give myself a break. I still am a newbie in business. So this is kind of me getting into the number side of things, as that's obviously going to only become more important as I do scale my business. So, better to start now than, what's the saying? The best time to plant a tree was 5 years ago. But the second best time today, right? So here we are. Probably spent close to 5 hours of my day just literally on Google Sheets. I have a major headache. I do not want to look at Google Sheets anymore. The green is like giving me PTSD. But we got the data that we need, which is great. So now we can move forward. And yeah, there are a couple different ways we can go with this, just based on this data. There are so many things we can do with this data. Somebody just liked my story. That's Riz. Not from a female, potential customer. But, yikes. Alright, I just went on a terrible tangent, so just scratch that. But, yeah, so I think the next couple steps would be to determine, like I said, maybe, figure out who's referring, where the customers are coming from, which I already have. I have that in my profit statement, like the acquisition, whether that's a repeat customer, inbound, outbound, etc. And I can kind of get a gauge of because you don't always know where customers are coming from due to word of mouth. Like I said, they could be coming from your content. They could be coming from a referral. They could be coming, yada, 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 yada. But you can make a pretty educated guess based on who that customer knows, what that customer bought, etc. So I'm going to try to figure out who's referring, if there's similarities between the people that are referring, who's happy overall, through the customer. I've done various customer surveys in the past. So there are some things I've done right, which kind of, will all click together with this data now. So I'm stoked for that. But yeah, so I think that's number one, is use the data for a product improvement side of things, and kind of get a gauge of who's happiest, because happy them means happy me, because they're getting me customers, and they're probably have a higher lifetime value as well, because they'll continue to purchase if they're happy. So that's exciting. And besides that, I guess the other thing I could do is figure out ways to increase the lifetime value. I've done this in the past, just based on monthly lifetime values or monthly average purchase prices, completely different things. But yeah, now I have pretty much all the data I need to make a good decision besides my cost to acquire a customer. But in reality, I haven't really spent any money to acquire customers because I have not. See, this is where I'm kind of uneducated. This is where it gets tricky because I don't understand cost to acquire customers as much as I do lifetime value. Because cost to acquire a customer, like, would spending money on, I mean, obviously, like, advertising, but I haven't gotten any customers from paid ads because every time I've tried paid ads, I've failed. So, I'm trying to think. Whatever. That can get overcomplicated or simple, however I make it. So probably need to learn a little bit more about that. But I'm gonna go ahead and stop this video because my brain's not like really fully running on full speed anymore. So you'll probably see this on Sunday. I'm not gonna post this at 10 o'clock on a Saturday night. You guys probably have like shit to do. You guys probably got a life and stuff. But yeah, so I'm excited. I think this is huge that I now have the ability to make data-driven decisions, which will be the title of this video. So yeah, this might have been a whole yap fest that didn't make any sense. Or maybe if anything, hopefully this serves as a reminder to track your shit, because this would have been so much easier if I started tracking all the data a long time ago. And collect emails, guys, for God's sakes. I don't know what I was doing. I was trying to operate everything through Instagram, but the more that I've learned about businesses, like emails and phone numbers, like you own that. Like if Instagram shuts down tomorrow, a lot of people will be fucked, just done for. So I've made it a bigger focus to collect people's like personal information, just so I can get in touch in case shit goes sideways. So I'd say that's a good takeaway for this video, but catch you guys later. Episode 3. Let's go.